ChatGPT might be able to ruin education as we know it, but it also might be able to make me a lot of money. So, hopefully you've seen the title of this video and you're expecting me to tell you how I managed to make close to $100,000 using ChatGPT. Well, I am going to tell you exactly what I did, how I used ChatGPT, and whether or not I was successful. But I'm going to keep that a secret for now, and hopefully you'll watch the rest of the video to find out. But first, I want to give a little bit of an overview of what ChatGPT is to put my own story in a little bit more context. ChatGPT is a version of GPT, the generative pre-trained transformer developed by the company OpenAI. OpenAI are a for-profit research group founded in December 2015 by Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, Ilya Sutskever, Wojciech Zambrana, and John Schulman. And Elon Musk.
No, I am not evil, I just misunderstood.
The company's mission is to ensure that artificial intelligence is developed in a way that's safe and beneficial for humanity, which is pretty funny when you consider that their first two big releases, both ChatGPT and DALL-E, have not gone down very well.
A new artificial intelligence tool is going viral for cranking out entire essays in a matter of seconds.
And it's called Chat GPT.
Chat GPT.
GPT. Chat GPT.
I've talked about DALL-E in a previous video and the controversy surrounding it, and I'll give a link to it below. But for now, let's just stick to Chat GPT. Technically, what we might call Chat GPT is really GPT-3, an update to GPT-2, which was released in June 2020. Even more specifically, what we call ChatGPT is actually a specifically fine-tuned version of GPT-3 trained to generate human-like text in conversational scenarios. The program has been exposed to over 40 gigabytes of text training data to make it seem even more human. Now, because ChatGPT can generate human-like text, it's been used for a variety of natural language processing tasks, such as language translation, text summarization, and question answering. There are lots of generative AI chatbots out there, but what makes ChatGPT so special is that it's a transformer-based language model. The transformer is a type of neural network or electronic brain architecture introduced by Google researchers in the 2017 paper, Attention is All You Need. Unlike other models that attempt to calculate every possible outcome of a calculation, the transformer uses self-attention or intra-attention, in which inputs and outputs are broken down by importance to speed up computation. Lots of other people had used attention before alongside other computational techniques, but the Google researchers, Transformer, just used attention alone and produced remarkably fast results, even if they were a little bit hard to predict. To get an idea of what this looks like in practice, we can use some amazing technology, like the Dodrio tool made by researchers Ziji Wang, Robert Turco, and Polo Chow at Georgia Tech's Institute of Computing. Dodrio uses data visualization to allow us to see how a neural network attributes different levels of attention to different words to suggest the connections between them. If we look at a sentence like loneliness and the chilly anonymity of the environments where so many of us spend so much of our time, Dodrio allows us to see the connections between a word like loneliness and chilly in simple color-coded graphs. So if I click on loneliness, Dodrio shows me that a transformer-based model knows the next best word to connect would be chilly, but at the same time, it knows the rules of English sentence construction, so needs to first insert the required words to get from a noun to an adjective without sounding weird and inhuman. That said, attempting to understand an attention-based model doesn't really get across what ChatGPT can do. So to get an idea of just what ChatGPT is capable of, I urge you to just go use it yourself. Now, these days, that's often easier said than done because it's so in demand, it's common to not be able to use it. So I'll ask it some questions now. communicate just how remarkably natural using ChatGPT feels. It's not like talking to a human. Not really. You might feel guilty about asking these kinds of questions to a real human. It's more like using a piece of technology that instantly feels nostalgic. Use it for a few minutes and you'll start to wonder why this tool hasn't existed your whole life. In practice, this represents some really exciting things. If a human writer is skilled enough to recognize any errors that might crop up in the bot, language models like ChatGPT have the potential to radically speed up writing. There's a temptation then to see this as a natural progression. Just as we shifted from chisels to quills to pens to typewriters to word processors, we have this new tool at our disposal. Writing may well be about to shift away from the practice of placing individual words on a page to dealing with whole sentences or maybe whole paragraphs. Taking this to the extreme, Bert Gordine and Henk ten Have suggested in a recent editorial for Medicine, Healthcare and Philosophy that chatbots like this have the potential to replace all scientific research. This could be, they suggest, just another human skill like games of chess and Go, where AI is simply so good that it can't be beaten. They suggest that we need to reassess what purpose we serve when so much can be accomplished by artificial intelligence. What does writing become when it's not just putting words on a page? Now, to me, the really obvious strength of technology like this is to improve the lives of those that struggle to write for mental or physical reasons. For people with writing-based impairments or disabilities of any kind, this could be a real game changer. Bronwyn Hemley, Emma Power, and Fiona Given, writing in The Conversation, cautiously share this sentiment, writing, "If it becomes accessible for everyone, AI of this type could do more than disrupt exams. It could help people with communication disabilities and others who struggle with text, and could also significantly enhance the rate of communication." Looking beyond this, though, I can't help but feel that in a contemporary work landscape where the speed of production is more important than ever, and burning out is common as a result, tools like ChatGPT might simply be a necessity. The internet is growing exponentially, with people producing more content now than ever. The 33 zettabyte of the current global datasphere, as it's called, is expected to grow to over 5 times that by 2025. And this expectation puts a lot of pressure on content creators to create better, more data-hungry material than ever, faster than ever. An area this is particularly affecting is academia, where lecturers and researchers are expected to publish over 6 times as many papers a year as they did in the 90s, and the achievements that they get as a result of doing so are less than ever. At the same time, the writing that's actually being produced, in certain subjects at least, is less disruptive and generally considered of a lower quality and far more incremental than it is innovative. This isn't just happening in academia, of course, as burnout is becoming increasingly an issue in all sectors. While I would love to say a revolution is on the way that would mean people are paid more for doing less, I can't think of any instances in the history of humanity where that's happened. So I'm left thinking, if humans are burning out attempting to keep up, maybe the solutions simply lie in more than human labor. This idea might not be so far-fetched either. There's evidence to suggest that not only is how we produce content changing, but the way we engage with information is changing through the speed of the internet. In 2019, researchers of psychology and neuroscience at Duke and Stony Brook University proposed that the way we use the internet today could be more than simply a method for retrieving information, but it might be becoming habitual due to its speed and ease. They propose that seeing the internet like this can redirect the field from questions about the internet as a place to store information to a broader consideration of how internet usage may affect many aspects of cognition as people increasingly rely on the internet to seek, post, and share information. In other words, something like ChatGPT might simply be the right tool for the job, coming along at the right time in human history. Now, as cool as all of this sounds, and it does sound kind of cool, it's worth paying attention to the alternative viewpoint.
It is a gift.
To put it bluntly, there are people out there that think AI writing tools like ChatGPT and other chatbots are ruining knowledge and education as we know it. Daniel Herman, a high school English teacher at an independent high school in San Francisco, writing for The Atlantic, laments that ChatGPT is a better writer than most of his students. Beyond this, he wonders aloud if this could spell the end of using writing as a benchmark of aptitude and intelligence. This might be why students and teachers no longer have access to ChatGPT in New York City schools. Although the reason given was that this represented an opportunity for students to engage with racist or otherwise offensive content, Luke Hughes, writing for Tech Radar, feels it's much more likely that the State Department were simply worried about students attempting to pass this work off as their own. A more high-profile instance of expressions of dismay at ChatGPT comes from none other than singer-songwriter Nick Cave. In response to a fan sending him a song by ChatGPT written in a manner that replicated his style, he retorts that ChatGPT is replication as travesty. It may be able to write a speech or an essay or a sermon or an obituary, but it cannot create a genuine song. Songs arise out of suffering, by which I mean they are predicated upon the complex internal human struggle of creation and, well, as far as I know, algorithms don't feel. Data doesn't suffer. He might have a point, but my favorite song is Relentless Doppelganger, an endless death metal loop created by AI, so what would I know? Before we get carried away, it's worth mentioning that Daniel Herman suggests that while writing may not be used as a metric of intelligence or aptitude anymore, he doesn't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. Instead, he asks whether or not it's still worth doing. Perhaps marking the only logical place for objections to ChatGPT, Herman ends his article by saying, "Everything is made up. It's true. The essay as a literary form? Made up. Grammatical rules as markers of intelligence, writing itself as technology? Made up. Starting now, OpenAI is forcing us to ask foundational questions about whether any of those things are worth keeping around." In summary, ChatGPT is a transformer-based language model that uses self-attention to outpace its competitors. It's been used for translation and human-like writing. It's either the evolution of writing as we know it, or it could be inspiring a revolution for human creativity. Some see it as the downfall of education, some think it can't really write because it can't suffer. And some people think that at the end of the day, it's inspiring us to ask useful questions about the nature of writing and education as a whole. None of this answers my initial question of whether or not I used ChatGPT to earn $100,000. The simple answer is yes. At the end of 2022, my dream job was advertised. A 2-year research post that would pay $45,000 a year to let me write what I wanted and collaborate with some of my own academic heroes. The application asked for 4 things: a CV, a cover letter, a personal statement, and a research plan outlining what I would do for the 2 years of the project. I had the first 3 things, but with just hours to go before the deadline, I hadn't even started on a research plan. Of course, I had Googled it, but everything I found seemed to be aimed at people with far more time and some idea of where to start. In a last-ditch effort, I signed into ChatGPT and I asked it to write me a 2-year research plan. And what it said really surprised me. It simply said, research projects work best when researchers are passionate about their topic. Only you know what you want to research. I can't choose a topic for you, but I can provide you with a structure to base your work around. It was exactly what I needed. It gave me something to work from, but also the freedom to expand through my own thoughts and ideas. Now, I'm not saying that all ChatGPT use will be like this, but I found it incredibly helpful speeding up the difficult first stages of writing. I wrote a lot of the script for this video by using ChatGPT. Now, the application I wrote with ChatGPT's help was successful. I got an interview, but unfortunately the interview didn't go great. I really wasn't the right person for the job, but I learned a lot in the process. Maybe the right person for the job was ChatGPT? To my mind, ChatGPT being used in this way as a tool for inspiration isn't just morally okay. It's almost inexcusable that for so long, writers were expected to struggle without help like this. while still placed under extremely stressful deadlines that are only ever accelerating. But what do you think? Is using ChatGPT to write cheating? Can it really write? Is it possible to write without suffering or some kind of human emotion? Let me know down in the comments or on the Padlet that I'm going to attach to this video as well, and I hope you look forward to the next one.